Hey everyone, this is Chris from Marti Travel. We are continuing our Switzerland trip review. As you know, as we're kind of building up the channel, we're going to go through and kind of do our trip review day by day of just kind of an overview of what we did and kind of some thoughts along the way. And then we're going back and talking about specific highlights, different things like restaurant reviews, hotels reviews, and things such of that nature. So we're jumping in. We are day 3 of our Switzerland trip, which is truly the first day that we actually made it to Switzerland. Check out our other videos where we talk about our 2 layover days, day 1 being in New York, day 2 being in Paris, arriving very late at the end of day 2 to Zurich, and waking up the next day for our first full Switzerland day. We're gonna jump right in. My name is Chris Marti, and this is Marti Travel. All right, guys, so we are here. Again, we stayed at the Plaza Hotel overnight in Zurich, and now it is the next morning, and we are waking up to head on the train to Lucerne. The reason we stayed at the Plaza Hotel is its close proximity to the train station in Zurich. It's actually just across a bridge, very easy walking distance, no cab needed. It's relatively flat, so again, if you have accessibility needs or anything like that, very, very easy to get from the Plaza over to the train station in Zurich. So we got there pretty early. It was our first day. Wasn't sure what to look for as far as the signs and the trains and how easy it was going to be to figure out where we were going. Since it was so early in the morning, it was the first trip that train was taking for the day. So it was already at the station, very clear that it was leaving at 8 something in the morning to Lucerne. And this was a train where leaving from Zurich, it actually didn't stop. It was kind of a non-stop, if you will, straight to Lucerne, very clearly marked. The station itself is nice. Some stuff wasn't open because we were there so early, but really, really nice. Major metro train station, plenty of food, restaurants. There were some breakfast stops and some little bodegas or convenience stores that were there. So very accessible for you guys to get anything that you need for the train ride. The train itself was nice. We noticed that there was a couple different train companies in Switzerland, some different brands and things like that. And each company within it had some newer models, of course, and some older models. And so our first Lucerne train was really nice. It actually had the double-decker trains. So we actually headed up to the upper level for our comfortable trip to Lucerne with some great views, again, being on that second floor. If you've ever been on a train in Switzerland, again, these more modern ones, these newer trains are very, very nice. They've got great accessibility, including restroom facilities. If you're somebody that is restroom sensitive, these bathrooms are very, very nice. They're on the train. Doors are clean, everything's clean, very, very modern on here. So again, if you have kind of those needs while you're traveling, you'll be very, very pleased on the car. In addition to that, the larger, newer ones also have a cafe car, so you can head back to the cafe. And depending on which train company you're with or which train you're on, some of them it's a full-on restaurant with like sitting down tables and chairs. And then other times it's more like Amtrak in the US, where it's more of a little cafe cart, grab and go. So the ride wasn't too far to Lucerne, so we were pretty much, just gearing up for a quick ride over. I think it was about 45, 50 minutes, if I recall, by train. So it wasn't very, very long at all to get down there, but we were excited. Train left on time. That's another tip, right? In Switzerland, trains leave on time. And we arrived to the main station in Lucerne. So there's a lot to do here. We crammed a lot into this day. So I'm gonna go through it kind of quick. And like I said, we'll kind of come back and talk about some of our highlights. Number 1, let's start with the station itself and kind of the area where you get out. So when you come out of the train station in Lucerne, you're in the middle of the historic downtown area. The bridge is right there. The big historic bridge, very famous, Instagram, TikTok, things like that. So again, we visited that later in the day, but that's right there. And then you've got the harbor and the marina where the boats are that take you on Lake Lucerne. If you've got any of those excursions booked, they're right there next to the train station. So the station is a very, very central hub. And then you've got Old Town Lucerne across the bridge where you can, again, kind of go and see some of the historic stuff if you want to kind of do shopping, dining, or things like that. So we were staying at a wonderful hotel. It was super cool when I booked this online, and I just knew we had to do it for one night, which is called the Chateau Gouche, I believe is how it's pronounced. It is up on a hill. They give us a whole history on it. Apparently, Michael Jackson tried to buy this place, the whole thing. That's how nice it is. And so we called a cab and headed up the hill to Chateau Gouche. And man, when you get up there, it is incredible. The views that this place has, it is truly a castle on a hill overlooking the beautiful city of Lucerne and just everything that comes with it. So very high-end hotel. They came up, didn't want us to walk down the stairs with our bags. They came, took the bag down the stairs. And this thing is literally a castle. It's got a courtyard. It's nuts. And so check-in was amazing. We were very early, but of course they knew us by name, poured water for us as we're checking in. And it's neat because the rooms are all literally lettered and numbered. You know, you're in room 8, you know, not floor 7, room 2, right? You're in room 8 because there's not that many of them. Beautiful resort though. We'll do an amazing review on this whole place, talking about everything that you need to know about it and what was so great about it, and just one thing that you really need to know about it when you're going in summer. So check out our other video to learn what that is about that hotel. So we turned around pretty quick because again, we only had the day and we wanted to get a jump start right away. So we called another cab, again, just trying to save time, right? I know that you can take the bus and metro and things like that, which we'll cover in another video, because in Switzerland, a lot of the hotels that you're staying at give you a local travel pass, including this one, that allows you to use the local metro and public transportation at no charge. It's covered within the booking for your hotel. But we did call a cab because we needed to go quick. So once we got in the cab, we headed to a little town called Kriens. So Kriens is right outside of Lucerne, and really why we were going there, mainly a local area, locals live there, but why we were going there was to catch our first Switzerland lift. If you haven't looked up any other videos about Switzerland, lots of gondola systems, lots of cable cars, lots of lifts that take you up these incredible mountains to the top. And the one here in Kriens was the gondola for Pilatus. Pilatus is the name of the big mountain. It's completely dragon themed. They've got some lore about the dragon living up there, pretty cool. And so we got on our first cable car here in Brienz to head up to the mountain. So it was pretty neat. If you've been to Disney World, you're in a little basically Skyliner, right? Like a mini Skyliner on the cable car heading up. And it's nice because on the way to Pilatus, there's actually 2 stops before you kind of get to the big one. So the first stop we didn't stop at all. We kept going, but there's a nice little restaurant there and some resorts. And there's actually people that live on this hill, right? Because at the bottom, it's yes, it's a mountain, but it's like a hill. We kept going through there. And on the next stop, you actually are forced to get off and transfer to the big cable car that's going to take you all the way up to the top of Pilatus. And so at that second stop, there's a second restaurant, and there's some really cool stuff outside. It's like an adventure coaster. They've got one of those rope adventure courses out there for both adults and young ones. They've got a little playground out there as well. And of course, the Alpine coaster, which we actually did. So the stop is really cool because there is truly, if you've seen on TikTok, Instagram, an Alpine coaster here, it was incredibly fast. We went out there, and again, we'll kind of do like a separate video talking about this, but it was really cool to get on there. They give you a little rental for your phone. So we have a whole video going down the Alpine coaster, super cool. But anyways, you transfer at the second station and you can get on the big cable car up to Pilatus. And so this was the first one we had done, a little bit scared of heights from me. And man, it's a little crazy, but it's great, right? It's very safe, but still, when you're looking down and you realize that this metal cable is all that's got you, a little bit of a mental thing there. So we went up, one car down, one car up at a time, right? Pretty big cars. These cars must hold 30 plus people, which makes sense for the volume given that. But we arrived at the top, and this is truly a fortress on a mountain, right? It's a gift shop, it's a restaurant, it's a bar, it's hotels, it's everything that's on the top of this crazy mountain, which gave us our first amazing views of Switzerland. So once you're up there, again, lots to do, shopping, dining, and more. We ate at the restaurant up there. We'll do a video covering that as well, kind of give some reviews. But this is where you get the views of the Switzerland Valley for Lucerne, right? So we got a lot of different views and vantage points over the whole course of our trip. But here in Lucerne, we get one of the best views of the valleys, right? You're up on the mountain, you're just looking down and everything's green, beautiful land. And this is where people talk about Switzerland being the most beautiful place ever. This is it. So definitely recommend that you go up to Pilatus, so much to do. And we'll kind of do a standalone video talking about what's up there. Then from there, we came back down. And once we came back down, we went back into the kind of the old town area. We visited the lion statue, which is there to celebrate kind of almost like a little bit of a mini battle and war that was fought in Lucerne. A lot of rich history there, and they've got this lion just carved into this cliff facing. It's really beautiful, and it was completely done by hand. So definitely make sure that you check that out. And then from there, we did a cruise. You got to do a cruise on Lake Lucerne. Bought some tickets, very inexpensive for the boat cruise, all considered. They have kind of like a second class affair or a first class. And so we actually I got the second class tickets. But when we got on there, we realized it was pretty crowded, and you had to get the first class to get the views of the lake worth the outside where it was uncovered. So we were able to upgrade on the boat and then go to the second floor where we were able to get a view and a bench that wasn't, again, so crowded. And then from there, the way it works is you can buy a ticket to a specific destination, and then the cost, depending on how far you're going, is different. So we wanted to do a couple stops. So I believe it was 3 stops for us. We booked to a little town called Weegis. And so we were on the boat, Lake Lucerne, beautiful, mountains all around you, beautiful water. super blue, and it's because of all the glacier runoff and things that are feeding these lakes. It's crazy how pretty this water is. And then we arrived in Weegis. And so at the dock in Weegis, we came out, lots of different restaurants and hotels and things lining kind of the dock area. We didn't want to go too far because again, we were only in Lucerne for one day. So we walked over, ate at this Italian restaurant right outside the dock. Very good food. You're so close to Italy and Switzerland that all the cuisine that's Italian is very, very good and very authentic. And so we had a great quick meal, had some pizza, had some beer, had some wine, headed back to the dock for a return trip to Lucerne. And what's cool about the boat schedule there is when you buy these tickets for your go and your return, depending on what time you're catching the return, there's different models of boats. So we were on a little smaller boat, no cafe, on the way down to Weegis. And then on the way back, we caught one of the bigger boats that actually had a full restaurant and bar on it. So we were able to have some beverages on the way back to Lucerne. So definitely make sure that you check out the boat schedule for the craft that you're gonna be on. And then once we arrived back, it was getting late in the day. Things were starting to close down. It was almost 6 o'clock-ish, starting to get dark. And so we walked through the bridge. Again, super historic, beautiful. It's got this whole story that was just painted such a long time ago. And they've got all, it's numbered, right? 1 through, I think it was 80 something was the last one. And some of them are there, some of them are in other places, but they've got this whole story. And it's just a great walk to see this beautiful bridge that kind of connects the two sides of the river there. And so once we crossed the bridge, we headed into the old town as we were walking back to Chateau Gouche. It wasn't too far, so we wanted to walk and just kind of see what was out there. Again, a lot of the shops were closing down, but the restaurants were starting, and it's very much like most of Europe or Paris. The restaurants that were in this old town area have great outdoor dining options. So if you want to eat outside, this was perfect to do. And so when we arrived back at Chateau Gouche, the way we did it by walking, where you don't have to walk up the hill, is they actually have a funicular. Funicular is basically a mountain cart thing, right? There's essentially an elevator on wheels. And so the funicular takes you up very steep cliffs. And so you start kind of at the base, you get on the funicular, and then you head back up to the hotel. And then once you were back in the hotel, we settled into the room. Again, it was about 7 o'clock that night. We were still pretty jet lagged because we had done our 2-day stint with no real sleep, coming from New York to Paris to Lucerne, and we had a whole fully packed day. So we opted, instead of heading back into town to eat at the hotel restaurant, figured since it was such a nice hotel, the restaurant would be pretty good. And it was excellent cuisine. And again, we'll kind of do a standalone review talking about the hotel and the restaurant and things like that. So that was day 2, guys. We ended things there. We needed to get some rest because we were heading to our home base in Interlaken, which is truly one of the best parts of our trip. We had a 3-night stay coming up in Interlaken with a lot to do while we were there as a home base. And so we needed to catch the train at the Lucerne train station the next day and head to bed. So that was day 3, really, really cool. Day 4 coming up, our second day in Switzerland, and we will talk about everything that we did. I wanted to give you guys kind of the overview and the trip review, and then we'll come back through, like I said, and kind of hit some highlights and do some reviews about some of the things that we did. Again, guys, my name is Chris from Marti Party Travel. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, as it allows us to keep creating amazing content about all of our travels all over the world. We'll catch you next time.